It doesn't matter anything with caffeine.
Okay.
That's kind of how I am. But again, if you hear the beeping, I got 3 cameras on you, so ignore it.
Okay, but I gotta, how do I get this? I'm gonna have to put this lower, honey.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. You guys been staying busy?
I stay busy every day.
This jacket is shrinking in the middle.
That's my class A jacket,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, it's just for some reason it's shrinking.
Just right there.
We've got the Memorial College homecoming this morning.
Okay.
Krista Joseph's
Yeah, the thing at 1.
husband, and then the ribbon cutting for the health.
Oh, on
center.
West King? It's
Yeah, West
really
King Street.
already?
Yeah, that's today.
Wow.
Well, not to add anything else to your plate, but if you're bored, our new hires are burning and doing fire behavior training at Sims Pit, starting
Really?
basically at 8.
This
9.
morning?
So when we get out of here, I'm
Okay.
going right there and doing training with them. So if you want to swing by real
Which
quick,
pit is the pit on 214 or 207?
312, the 312 extension. So if you if you go across, it's the Connex boxes on the right hand side.
Yes.
So if you're bored and just want to swing by and say hi, you're more than welcome.
I can help you.
You're
I
also
could try it this way,
also
but
very
I don't
busy,
know
I
if
understand
Facebook.
If you
I have a better.
if you would do me a favor, I'd really
It
like for you
should,
to.
but do what you're comfortable with.
When you got stuff like
Is this
that
what you're
going
used
on,
to?
call me.
Yeah, but
Okay.
I can't get
I would
over in.
love
I
to
got
show
all
you.
you
We
guys
have
in last week.
so basically
Listen, I
from now
framed
until
it.
March,
I'll set your
Oh,
frame.
we
you
have
framed it?
Yeah.
something going on
You
with
just
new
worry about
hires.
what you're doing. I'll set your frame.
I don't know
Good.
what I'm
I
And
doing.
then we're
Yeah,
gonna
you
take a
do.
couple
You
weeks
do a
off,
great
and then
job.
we're gonna do another new hire class. So
Good.
You're more than welcome at any
Just
point.
keep on hiring, buddy.
Keep on giving
Mom?
us the
Your
money to
original
hire.
tripod is going to go right here.
Thank you.
I'm using mine because it can get it better. It's a little more
You maybe do
compact.
this
That,
every week.
Hey,
for
we
me.
ain't fooling around no more, are we? We're
Hey.
getting high tech.
That
If he's gonna
turn
do
of dirt
that.
have changed. It was supposed to be 12:15 in West Augustine, now it's 9:15, I think I saw.
Yes.
So you are literally leaving out of here.
As soon as I leave here, I have to race over there. It's 9:15.
Oh, yeah.
I got him to rearrange everything for her service and for me coming here. I told him, I said, Susan Johnson's
You got the name right.
she's the goat, and I have to be here from 8 to 9. Everything else, Krista Joseph's just gonna have to wait to bury her husband till after this.
Those are just questions that came in. Some of them,
Oh, cool
I
question.
think maybe I messed up and.
No, I don't think you did.
Yes,
They're different. They're different wording, but saying the
But
same
the
thing.
same
Yeah,
question.
so it could be the same question.
Oh, this is good stuff. What am I doing here?
You're talking about all this stuff.
This is
I get to be quiet this time, which is not
Well, you-
easy for me, but.
You're involved in this. It's 5
I'm
people in the
leaving.
room.
We're gonna go to
Yeah.
breakfast. I'll be back when
Oh,
it's over.
don't tempt me.
So you're good there.
Are you still doing restaurant stuff?
I'm not. Oh, it's me.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I know you are, but.
Oh yeah.
No, I mean, my dad, Ned's cooking all the time, and I'm delivering his food to her and to my neighbors and
With the
stuff.
He won't tell you, but he was with the History Channel for the last 10 years.
What?
We just stopped in May. So,
Awesome.
yeah. But I
You're
mean,
a
so now
local
I'm doing
celeb.
automotive content. I'm doing freelance.
Okay.
I was a field producer for I was a field producer for 5 years, production assistant for 5 years before that.
See, if that shakes too much, let me give you some direction.
Yeah. No, see, this is now everybody's in the frame. You're going to be hooked up here, Mom.
Okay, but I don't want to be in the frame. Just,
You're not
yes.
in the frame. Just
You did? Oh, God.
the rock stars.
Bang
here.
it on there.
Okay, Mom.
Yes.
All this
So here's what you're going to do. Look, I got all of them in the frame.
Does it give a
Oh,
magnet?
that's perfect.
Well, no, I'm not talking about that.
And like when I moved
Troy
this camera, it stopped
he
recording.
pops.
See how it says
Watches
recording?
The show live on his phone.
See the
Really?
little red
Oh, that's
RE
nice.
section? So you'll know you're recording. Let me turn a little bit. Now all of them are in the frame.
Except,
I know. And I'm going to adjust you right here.
except the chief.
No,
That's
no.
okay.
Oh, we got them. We got everybody now.
And then what do I do with these
Feels very
cameras when I
Good
leave?
boy.
Just call me.
Sure.
I'll take care of it. These, see if you touch the screen, you just have to touch it real lightly and you see that red? That means it's rolling. So you don't have to do anything. You just focus on what you do. I got everything all set up. It's all recording. And if you hear a beep, ignore it. It's just these stupid GoPro batteries being completely unreliable. So when you end and you're ready to turn it off, there's only one button you need to know about right up top. That
On both of them.
On both of them.
And I can help you too.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's just GoPros are very user friendly. So you just hit go live when you're ready. Oh, thanks. And tell Matt I said thanks.
I will.
You just hit go live on this when you're ready, and everything else is already live.
Okay.
Not live, but like rolling. So you don't have to worry about any of it. Let me get your coffee.
No, you're gonna have to move that cup out of the way because it's gonna block the camera from you.
There you go.
There we go.
There you go. See?
Put it right here, Susan, right here. Right here.
Yeah, right here. Put it.
No, you can stack it right on top of mine. That'd be perfect.
Here, Mom. Here's your coffee.
Thank
But
you.
don't put it in front of the frame there.
So this is going to have to go.
Is that your
There you go,
coffee?
perfect.
Yeah, it's her water.
That's my water.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you'll need
We're all
both.
hyped up on coffee.
All right, so you're set up. You feel good, Mom?
I'm set up. Yeah.
See how often I come here? I knew that was her water. And
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Except he forgot the coffee and normally forgets my last name, but that's okay.
for
It's a hard one to remember.
It's all right.
For
Cool.
some reason,
I'll
yeah,
see you
for some
later.
reason I call her Susan Williams all the
Yeah, me
time.
too. I can help you with this big because it's kind of heavy.
Okay.
So just call me when you're done. I'm gonna go take my wife for coffee now. I gotta get up before everybody.
Thanks.
Have
Good to
fun.
meet y'all. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
I'll
Yeah,
see you
thank
soon.
Good seeing you again.
Yeah, good
Be
seeing you. Y'all have fun.
Would you just close that door, honey, on your way
Got
out,
it.
please?
Lock us
Thank
in. We
you.
can't get out now.
That's right. You're in there.
Everybody's phone on vibrate.
So we have about still 8 minutes.
8 minutes. Okay.
That's how it works in the having a face for radio. That's I've learned that's how it works. You make sure
You got to
to
make sure the money gets made.
make sure the money gets the bills get paid.
Okay, so we're just gonna do, I'll do the little intro, read the statistics, and then you guys can take it, or I don't even have to go through the statistics if you want to stay away from the suicide statistics stuff. It just, to me, kind of set the stage
Right,
for,
right. Why we need what we, well,
yeah, why we're even talking about this. And
It's an interesting question. Number 8.
Mom,
yeah,
I have 1 minute. I want to show you one thing. If you look at this,
I do
and for whatever reason you don't see that,
That
the
includes
record
the 32
button.
new ones.
you see that button right there?
mhm,
Just press it, and that'll come on again.
okay.
But you probably won't have to worry.
Which question?
8.
I mean, it's a good question.
That makes me want to slap you.
I think it's more like a cup thing, right? Like I always kind of use the analogy of like your cup is full of something, right? So if you already have some pre-existing issues, not issues, but pre-existing stuff,
Trauma.
Like trauma and PTSD, adding to it, and then eventually your cup overflows.
It's not necessarily the fact that they're military veterans, it's what they saw during their deployments, if they saw those traumatic events. No different if we hire someone who was abused as a child.
Or a
Oh.
or a fireman at an existing
Yeah.
Right? Who
station.
brings
Yeah.
their resilience.
Who brings trauma with them? Yeah. I'm a believer. For years, I was like, rub some dirt on it.
Yeah.
And, this stuff that we see out there on the streets, most people would never see. If their cat died, they're out of control, and you're just we see death all the
Right.
time. Literally, sometimes every day. So that's
We had three pass away in vehicle wrecks yesterday in the county.
I'm gonna turn,
Yeah, it was a busy day. Busy night last night.
so we're going live, which means your mics will be live all the time.
Okay.
Not for the radio people, but for the Facebook people.
so everything we say can and will be used against
Sign
us.
here.
Yep.
Sign here. Forever hold your peace.
Yeah, I told you guys about that service completes amazing.
It's good.
Amazing.
You made me cry though. You see that?
I was crying.
Oh, at the
You
memorial?
sat down and I
I'm
was
not
like,
crying. You're crying.
Everyone was crying.
yeah, it's good. And we're gonna do that every year. Like we'll do it around the same time every year, and just
No, I definitely. We have to
kind of like
remember.
the sheriff's office does it every year. Jackson JFRD does it every year. They have, if you ever seen JFRD's memoir, their memoir is.
I don't know if I want to see it.
It's beautiful.
I don't know if I asked you. Did I ask if you know Nick Tyson from Jacksonville?
Oh yeah, I know Captain Tyson. Yep.
He and I were dispatchers together in 1980
What? Are you kidding me?
at JSO. Yeah, he was dispatching fire trucks and I was dispatching police cars.
That's crazy.
And we were buddies about 2 years back then. He actually came to my graduation when I graduated from the Patrol Academy in '82. And I've known Nick. We've been friends, and we every now and then, every time I go to Sonati's, I'll text him.
Yeah, he's
He's a good
guy. Real good guy.
Unusually intelligent.
Yeah, he was gonna make it there, but they had something else going on. They're doing that. Their station that's downtown. Station 3, the museum. They're really getting that ramped
Yeah,
up. And they had, I
he's-
think, a couple pieces of apparatus come in.
Yeah, he's been helping with stuff like that for a long time.
And I think they locked the thermostat because I can't turn.
Oh, it's fine now. Yeah, it's fine.
So if it gets too warm, just maybe Commissioner Murphy would pop open the door.
Yeah, whatever you need. And you can call me Clavin. I've messed your name up enough. You can call me Clavin.
Yeah.
Look at my little bigger font line.
There you go.
Well,
Yeah.
I wasn't sure.
I'm not there yet. I don't want to commit yet.
Don't commit.
I've
Because
been
when
there
you
for
do-
years, and
When you do,
I didn't know if you were there, any of you were there yet or not, so I went with the smaller print.
I have contacts in, but it's for distance, not close up.
well, I've never worn glasses. And when I was 42, I went to get a flight physical from Patrick Hale to renew my pilot's license. He's a great guy. And I go in there and I say, all right, hey, Doc, how you doing? He goes, hey. He was going through the thing. He says, how old are you? I said, 42. He says, are you using readers yet? I said, no. He says, won't be long.
You will be.
The next day I wake up and I'm going, that bastard. With love though, because Pat Hales and his wife are two of the nicest people on the planet. So
Is he still?
he still does part-time
Wow.
stuff.
Yeah, he was Sue, his wife.
So
Sue.
yeah, beautiful people. And,
They were really involved with or she was Council on Aging at one
Yeah.
point, fundraising and.
we keep threatening to go flying together, and we just never made it happen. 30 years, over 30 years I've been going to see Pat Hale. So
Yeah, she's a dynamo, man. She can get
Yeah.
stuff done.
beautiful lady.
Yeah, she's that also. In every way. So do you want to just go outline and you do your talk, and if any of us have pertinent questions, we can jump in.
Yeah, the good thing about this is that this is real casual. And we're just having a conversation with her, and we just happen to be on the radio with it. So,
Because I can't pretend to be professional. I do occasionally, but it does not ever work
I
out
do the
for
same
me.
thing.
yeah, we're just regular old people sitting around here, and getting an opportunity to come in here and highlight the services in the county. For me, it's very selfish of me because I'm so proud of what you guys do. And all the departments in the county, I'm really proud of them. But this gives me an opportunity to selfishly showcase what the county does, give you a platform to kind of expand on that, because so many people don't have a clue what you do. They don't have a clue.
And I think that first comment that I'm going to reference is proof of that. She just thought that people knew how to handle their, first responders don't need any support because they're superheroes. They can handle it. They're fine. And I think that's a common perception, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn all the mics in too for the radio spots, so you guys might have to.
That's fine. We'll work it out.
Yeah.
We'll fight over it.
Yeah.
No, give it to me. Give it to me. I think it'll be more like Here you go.
St. Augustine's Butcher
You take
Shop,
it. No, you take it. No, you
Anastasia
take it.
Island,
No, you
at
take it.
Silverleaf, and online at chopshopsta.com.
You're gonna have to
Chopshopsta.com.
hold it now.
Yeah, don't be afraid to pull it closer to you. There you go.
Yeah, you're gonna have to like hold it
Yeah,
because
don't be afraid of anything.
there you go.
Good morning, and welcome in to the St. Johns County Morning News. I am your host, Susan Johnson, and I have a trio of very distinguished guests, which I'm going to have to read the titles because I will not remember. Okay, so we have Stephanie Whaley, Section Chief, Health and Wellness, St. Johns County Fire Rescue. We have Engineer Chris Naff, Honor Guard Commander, and Public Information Officer, St. Johns County Fire Rescue.
Everything else in between.
And all around good guy.
We have Commissioner Clay Murphy, Chair, St. Johns County Board of County Commissioners. And today we're going to be talking about everything that St. Johns County Fire Rescue does, the support systems and platforms that you have in place. And what precipitated this show for me was a few months back when I was talking with someone and they said, I've never really thought about first responders needing support systems. I think of them as superheroes, as people who can handle anything. You know, I admire them, I respect them, but as far as support goes, this is a sobering thought because it's just something, it's not top of mind to me. So to lead in, I'm going to read a few statistics to show that there is a need for these physical and mental health supports. Suicides fluctuate but show an increase both county and nationwide. Now for you guys, if any of these don't apply to St. Johns County, because these are national stats, then let me know. 20% of first responders meet the criteria for PTS at some point.
Right.
Is that about? Nationwide, former military personnel account for 10% of EMTs, 19% of firefighters, and 25% of police officers.
Yeah, I think actually Chief
Sound
Whaley
about
has
right.
some specifics for that as far as our department's concerned about how many military and if you want to speak on that real quick.
Active and veterans that currently work for St. Johns County Fire Rescue, we have about 16% of our certified firefighters.
On average, firefighters experience 9 traumatic events in just 1 year. So the cumulative effect of that over an average span of career 20,
25 to
25
30.
years is pretty significant.
Yeah.
A U.S. Senate behavioral survey, 28% of firefighters were at risk for suicide or suicidal thoughts. And these next stats, I think, kind of illustrate the dichotomy or the kind of chasm between the general population and first responders. So suicidal ideation, 46.8% of firefighters, as opposed to 13% in the general population. Suicide plans, 19% versus 3.9% in the general U.S. population. And I have to clarify, this is not a show about suicides per se. It's
Right.
a show about support. And I think these stats just indicate the need for that support. And suicide attempts, 15.5% versus 4.6% in the general population. So it's pretty significant statistics. And Chief Whaley, if you could take it from here.
So we kind of look at it, the health and wellness of our firefighters in a 4-prong kind of approach. So we have your mental, which you've already pointed out the need for that, spiritual, emotional, and then physical. So I'm really glad you brought up the higher risks of mental health for our firefighters because we've seen that ourselves. And it's important to address that it's not only PTSD, it's anxiety, it's moral injury, it's depression, it's anxiety, substance abuse and dependency. There's a lot of other mental health concerns that all first responders, our military, deal with, not just the accumulation that is most popular, which is the PTSD. But really, despite all the problems, the biggest problem is we have barriers to access care. And we saw that coming out of COVID, that there was not a lot of people out there to help first responders. And the first barrier we talked about prior to getting on the air was the stigma that, boy, do firefighters even need help. You know, they're big,
Right.
burly, they're the macho, right? So that's also a stigma internally that we have to deal with, that if we're asking for help, we might be perceived as weak.
Can I ask you a question then? So pre-COVID, there wasn't quite the same emphasis as there was post-COVID.
So I just saw, in 2013, we had our first real impact where I was in a position that I could kind of influence or make a change. And that was the death of one of our beloved firefighters. In fact, his anniversary was just yesterday of his death. And we were a lot smaller department and really hit us hard. You know, we were, a lot of us grew up in the department with him. And the way, we didn't know any better, but the way we kind of handled the crew, you know, sending them home, we thought we were doing the best thing by sending them home after they just performed life-saving measures on one of their own. I kind of started doing my research back then in 2013. What I can tell you about COVID is what COVID brought about was a very taxed and tired workforce, a new danger where we were getting conflictive, even the public was getting conflictive guidance from the CDC about was our PPE working. We would order PPE and then they told us, well, it might not be working. So we didn't know if we were bringing this unknown virus home to our families. And then the isolation, we had to isolate at home when we were exposed or showing symptoms, which then put more pressure on everybody else to work more because they had to fill the gaps. We can't brown out trucks. We had to keep those trucks on the road. So there was an extensive amount of overtime being worked and just a tired, scared workforce where we didn't know if we were doing, I was the EMS chief at the time, and I was, you know, hoping that I would be on conference calls after conference calls with the medical director and everybody from the state and feds. And we were, at one time, we had to get ponchos for our guys to wear because we ran out of gowns. Like nationwide, there was a shortage of supplies. And I just prayed every night that the guidance we were putting out there was keeping our guys safe.
And was it kind of like disrupting the family unit? Like everything kind of went, whoa, you're used to a certain routine.
Absolutely.
And then everything just got kind of displaced.
Well, I think I can kind of talk on that because my wife and I have talked about this is we kind of took our life for granted as first responders during that time because we were going to work, we were hanging out with our buddies per se, doing normal things where everybody else was locked down. So think about mental health, not just from your side of things, but from your family side of things. When I got home, she's been cooped up. My daughter's been cooped up all day. They can't go anywhere. And I'm driving down 295 and 95 and nobody's on the road. So you had to have a little bit of a shift as well for that. It was kind of weird because we didn't, I would say we changed, but we didn't really change. Like we were still going to work, going in, doing normal things to the extent that we could.
Right.
And, that kind of was a tax because, when you're at home, it's different. When you're at work, it's different. So.
Yeah. So that kind of precipitated some changes in how you approached support
Absolutely.
systems?
Absolutely. So coming out of COVID, we started working on a comprehensive plan to assist our firefighters. And at the time, Florida is light years ahead of where they stand as far as mental health and firefighters. They're very progressive in that. So I dipped into the resources we have here in the state and kind of learned from them, took a bunch of classes and webinars and realized there's a standard called a BHAP, a Behavioral Health Access Plan, that really every department, fire department, should look at, starting, initializing, and implementing. So we started that plan, and of course any plan, we have to get support from county administration and eventually the board. So it was a huge undertaking. So we, I would say it was after one of the funerals we went to in 2022 that I saw Commissioner Arnold at the time, and she was coming out of the funeral, and everybody before her said to me, as I was standing there, because our fire chief was inside and a couple of the other chiefs, administrative chiefs, were inside with the family in this small funeral home. Never have a firefighter's or first responders funeral in a funeral home, because we were all outside in the parking lot because so many people come. So I was the administrative chief, kind of outside, just thanking the dignitaries as they walked out, and I had all these people, if there's anything you need, please let me know. If anything you need, please let me know. Well, unfortunately, Commissioner Arnold was like the 5th person to come and say that to me. And I was a little frustrated because, you know, I'd presented this plan and there was really no movement. So I just said to Commissioner Arnold, who I'd never met before, you know what I need? I need 24/7 access to behavioral health for my firefighters. That's what I need. And she kind of, you know, was in this nice dress and heels and looked all nice, and I'm in my dress uniform, and she just kind of leaned back and went, okay, and then walked away. And I remember saying to a couple of my coworkers, I think I need to tell Chief Pravat. I just yelled at the commissioner, you know. But and then I said, well, I'll blame it on grief. I was overcome with grief.
There you go.
But after that, you know, the door kind of opened, and Commissioner Arnold sat down and kind of listened to me. It was the first time I really felt like I was heard about this program. And so we started that process then. It was a multitude of people working on our behavioral health plan. But since that time, we've grown into that plan. That plan is fully supported by the board. So let me just kind of explain that. So we have peer-to-peer counselors. So firefighters do better when they talk to somebody who's experienced it themselves. No different than, again, a military, a police officer. So we kind of like to take care of our own. So if we hear someone struggling or see something, they'll go talk to the peer. And that peer then is just there to kind of guide them to different resources.
Is it a designated peer for each person with?
No, sure. So we have over 400 firefighters, and we probably have about 25 peers.
Oh, wow.
So we divide them up geographically and then shift based. So you know, A Shift North can go to an A Shift North peer, and B Shift South can go to one of their peers, because they're running the calls together a lot of the times. So our peer-to-peer counselors are kind of our first line of defense, is what I'd like to say. And then also what was approved in 2022 is a chaplain. So now we have a chaplain who's also a firefighter. Again, has ran the calls, has lived at the fire station, has that street cred, knows our guys. And he goes out, he goes and visits the station, he tries to run some calls, he's performed marriages, he's been at funerals and performed some funerals.
We call him Chappie.
He's overall a great guy.
It's
yes.
a great name.
Yeah. Chappie Gilmore is what or Chappie Craymore is what
Is
he
he
called.
British? Chappie.
No.
No, but so that we never had. We had a similar chaplain at the time, but nothing like we have now as far as it's a firefighter. It's another one of their brethren, which really helps. And it brings them closer, because another barrier is that asking for help. We're helpers. We don't want to ask for help.
And do you find that people do access the chaplain and the peer-to-peer support people regularly? Are you seeing that that's a successful implementation?
The change in culture, it takes a long time to change a culture.
Yeah.
You know, fire departments are all about tradition, and it takes a really long time to change a culture. We are seeing that change in culture. We're reaching out to them after a horrific call, a lot of times dealing with a vulnerable patient, whether it be a child or an elderly person. If it's, we had some very bad calls we were talking about last night before we went on the air. We'll reach out proactively to those crews and just say we're here. A lot of times it's just them knowing that somebody's here for them, and that really helps.
And we're going to break, so stay close. We will be back.
There you go. We probably need to make this a year-long series. Right?
Yeah, I was gonna say
We've got
halfway
so much
through this.
Yeah, it goes fast.
It does go fast.
I know I broke that. Here, is this your phone?
And that was our first,
Let it go.
that was our first uninterrupted and only uninterrupted segment. Because now we've got commercials and news.
Okay.
So, yeah, it goes by really fast.
And I'm sorry, I can talk forever.
No, you're
I'm
great.
doing so much, just like perfect.
What you need another one?
And what
no,
I-
I'm just trying to prop this up so she doesn't have to.
Yeah.
I don't mind holding it. It's kind
There you
of,
go.
I feel like it's, oh, look at you.
There you go.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, but the
You're
thing
the
about
first person
the
who's
thing about
ever
radio
thought
is that that's our only connection to the audience. It's
Yeah.
right there.
Oh, okay.
We can't forget that we can talk, we can have a great conversation, but if they can't hear us, then
Right.
Except on Facebook. Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
Facebook's on.
yeah, Facebook. Oh,
Hi,
Facebook's
Facebook.
still live.
Oh
And
yeah.
if we do, I know you guys all have appointments afterwards, but But if we don't get to things during the hour that we're on the radio, we can continue on Facebook.
Okay.
You know, because it lives there through the weekend. Most
Yeah.
people do watch over the
Yeah.
weekend.
Yeah. And like I said, I think, you know, if we can get a hold of this, and obviously we're not going to get to all of these
Yeah.
questions that came in, but I feel like, you know, we need to do a little due diligence and make sure we get to these questions. So if you can send them to me, I'll get you my card and email.
I will.
Or
for sure.
however we want that to work. But there's some good questions in here that I think we
Justin
can
Miller
answer.
said, "Yep, we can hear you on Facebook."
Perfect.
So no secret swapping. Um,
And no cussing, please.
yeah, my favorite question is, does every firehouse have a dog? And if you
Wish.
don't,
The
I've
first
got
and
two
most
at my house
important.
that you can have.
My wife will gladly give up ours too.
Yep.
She's tired of keeping things with heartbeats alive, is what she says.
Yeah, dogs are
She's
cool.
like, she's like, including myself. But yeah, so I mean, we can kind of talk about that a little bit, like while we're
Dogs are cool. So and they're great therapy.
They're the next one, yeah.
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 Therapy dogs. I've always wondered if they were effective.
So they are. So we can talk about that kind of right now, as if we don't get to it on the radio itself. But we partner with Canine for Warriors up in Nocatee. You know,
Yep.
we've been really good working relationship with them. We were actually the first fire department that received a therapy dog from them. They had some police departments. I think Jack's Beach and Atlantic Beach were like the first therapy dogs that went out to departments, and basically they're fully trained puppies or dogs, and they come. Typically, they don't pass enough to do service dog work. They have a very strict policy for service dog work. So a lot of it's like you're supposed to support the veteran or the first responder, different things. So they're fully trained. We started with Garrett, who's now retired. He was actually a service dog for a warrior up in New York, who couldn't take care of him anymore. So he donated him back to Canine for Warriors, and then he ended up with us.
Is he named after someone?
I don't know that.
They come named, right?
Yeah, I think they come,
they come
named
named.
for the most part. So then we expanded our program. The sheriff's office got a dog, Sandy. She just
Sandy,
recently
I knew
retired. We also have one in our comm center. Willow is in our comm center, so she handles and takes care of all our dispatchers who are often forgotten about. You know, they're kind of in there. You know, Commissioner Murphy can talk about. He was a dispatcher back in the day.
I
Like
started there.
you
Yeah.
they need all the love they can get in there because they don't always get to see the other side of things. They're getting the 911 call, but not the finish, right? So, and then we have Bear, who's awesome.
Bear.
Bear. He looks like a bear.
He does look like a bear.
And we are back. You are listening to WFOY 102.1 FM, 1240 AM. You could be listening on our website at 1021news.com, but hopefully, if you are listening on one of the airwaves, hop on over to our Facebook page, which is WFOY Radio St. Augustine, because you can hear all the little
The chit-chat.
insights.
This is where all the fun's at.
It really is. During the break, the radio people have to hear the commercials, but the Facebook people get the real dish. So we are talking with Chief Stephanie Whaley, St. Johns County Fire Rescue Engineer. I really don't know how to address you. You have
I'm just
so
a
many
dude
titles
playing a dude
that
playing another dude. No, just call me Chris.
Chris
is fine.
Naff with
Yeah.
St. Johns County Fire Rescue and Clay Murphy, Board Chair, St. Johns County Commission.
Yeah.
Whew, okay.
If Chris leans back with a cigarette and says, "I'm nobody," then you need to watch out for him.
And we were just getting to service dogs and how they impact mental health.
So another prong in our behavioral health plan is the therapy dog program. And we did mention off air on Facebook that we had one recently retire, but we have two current therapy dogs. So we had one of the listeners bring in a question about, does every station have a dog? I personally would love every station to have a dog. And we also talked about maybe donating some of our family pets to the station. But right now we have two, one in our dispatch comm center, our communications, for our communications officers that that's kind of an isolating job. It's one I tell them all the time. I could never do your job. You guys are amazing. They're the ones, the first line. They're the first line for us as first responders, keeping us safe by the information they're getting from the caller.
Yeah.
And then they're the welcoming, the safety net for the caller calling in on their worst day.
That's a good point, because I think a lot of people we think of them as sitting in a room by themselves, taking the calls and stuff, but when we think first responder, we think of people running out with their fire hoses and, but really that is.
They are.
They start the
calls.
process for us to get there.
Yeah.
I can give you one personal story. So about 1980, 1981, I was working the 311 shift as a dispatcher in Jacksonville. I had the Zone 3 console when all heck broke loose. Officer Tom Safransky was shot and killed by a sniper driving down the road, and the guy in Jackson, the guy behind him was the one that initiated the initial radio call that I was working that night. And so you go from 0 to 100, and you get rescue there. You get everybody that's supposed to be doing what they're supposed to be doing. It's chaos for a little while, and then when the word comes in that Tom didn't survive, and everything kind of, the suspect in custody and things kind of calm down, you realize that even 46 years later, it's amazingly traumatic to go through something like that. But then you just go back to work. There's no firefighters, law enforcement, there's no, well, you need to take 3 days off. No, you need to go back to work. And so back then it was, and even in a lot of parts now, people feel like, you need to suck it up, Buttercup, and you can only do that for so long before. And if you look at the books, they'll tell you that most behaviors or negative behaviors from trauma doesn't really manifest till about 20 years later. And for a lot of us, childhood traumas, they don't usually start to act out until their 20s or 30s, truly. But for firefighters, it's well into our retirement to where we feel the effects of those early traumas that were not properly dealt with.
Which does again play into the huge need for support systems to kind of mitigate that down the line, what's going to happen or what could possibly happen down the line.
And then we also realized that we expanded, with the help again of our board, we expanded that BHAP program to include retirees, to include spouses and insurable-aged children, because these firefighters are coming home and now have another job, to be a parent or to be a spouse or a partner. And we want them to be able to have the resources available, and as a firefighter, and then also the spouse of a firefighter, he comes home, he brings some of that baggage home. So how do we deal with that? So we've opened this up. And the biggest part of our plan that we have is we have free access to mental health counselors that we call culturally competent. They're counselors, they're part of a group called the Elbow Tree Cooperative. And they are a bunch of counselors that have gone through a state class that they had to attend, and they had to do so many hours riding on an emergency apparatus, whether it's with us or another agency, because some of them moved from different parts of Florida, but they've ridden with Miami-Dade or Hialeah, somewhere down there. So they're all culturally competent, and my spouse, my child, up to age 26, are retirees. We have a teenage program called the Cadets that do ride-alongs with us. They think they want to be firefighters. They have access to this free program, which is amazing, because we've heard stories where EAP therapists have to go get a therapist of their own after we've unloaded our baggage on them, in a session.
Yes. Yeah. We're heading to news. We'll be back in about 5 minutes. Stay close.
Well,
I think we need to kind of elaborate on that a little bit, like the program, when it developed, how it developed, what it currently does. Just when we get back. I know we're on Facebook Live, but you want to hit some more questions?
I think it's a great idea.
I told you it was going to go quick. I was like, I could talk for 3 hours just on the first 4.
When you're passionate about a topic, I think you can talk forever.
And does that affect, like, when people retire, especially from a job with fire rescue where it's there's such camaraderie and people understand what other people are going through. How does retirement affect that when you're
Right.
kind of out of the loop?
Well, I think we're in retirement. I mean, I'm getting close to that.
I'm very
Closer
close.
every day. But I think, you go from being a team, right? You're part of a team. It's just like the military. You're assigned to a certain division, group,
Station house.
station
yeah.
house. It's the same thing with the police department. You're assigned to a shift. I think when you retire, you kind of lose that brotherhood and that involvement.
Oh, I can tell you do.
Which is hard. Like
Yeah.
you leave one day and all of a sudden you're like, well, I don't have to go to work that next day. And you're like, this is great. And about a week or two later, you're like, where is everybody?
And we all have purpose,
Yeah.
right? We're lucky to be a first responder. We have a purpose, and
Yeah.
you lose that purpose.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
really hard too. Our identity.
That's really important. As somebody who's been through that, I can tell you one of the biggest challenges that I faced is that, it reminds me of that movie Finding Nemo. And
Yeah.
if you remember in the movie, they get in this kind of jet stream that takes them from one part of the ocean to the other, and every now and then one will drop out, but everybody else keeps going, and it's kind of like retirement. You drop out of this stream that everybody's on because they can't stop for you. You drop out, and then people keep going, and you find yourself isolated sometimes. If I was blessed, I had something to go to when I retired, which is important for firefighters and for first responders to have something to do in retirement. Don't think that you're going to go fishing every day, because that lasts about 2 weeks, and then you realize that you're starving for some kind of social interaction. So having something to go to look forward to is really important when it comes to retirement.
Is that why there's such a high percentage of military veterans who enter fire rescue or first responder?
I would say yes. I think a lot of the
Because that-
feedback from veterans and people that are still currently in the military is they're looking for that brotherhood. They're looking for that camaraderie. And when I say brotherhood, it is the brotherhood, sisterhood. We just call it the brotherhood. I think that's what that's what they grew up on. That's what they're with. With the military. So I think it's important for them to have the same kind of feeling. And a lot of the mental health stuff that we probably won't even get to is at the dinner table after dinner. Is where we solve a lot of the world's problems.
Well, here's a question that I thought was interesting from Jackson. Are there nutritionists and coaches on staff available to first responders as part of the employment package, or is each person responsible for finding this type of assistance on their own? You guys in a position to add any of that stuff to it?
So currently, the county has hired 2 nutritionists through our
Okay.
benefits team that we can go see for free.
Good.
Wow.
But in this budget year, I wrote a justification for a new FTE that would be a health and wellness coordinator, and one person can't do it all.
I'm a member of the CCAA.
The CCAA.
Yeah, that's County Commissioners Against Acronyms. So when you say FTE,
Oh, I'm
a
sorry.
lot of people don't know what an
I'm
FTE
sorry.
is.
I have
That's
a very limited.
So it's a new position, a
yeah,
full-time,
a full-time employee,
equivalent. Yes.
or equivalent.
Yeah, and so a new position
you
to be
for the
added.
Obama era.
I'm so sorry, I'm never gonna
We got
forget that,
FTEs.
yes. So we're excited to get that ball rolling and get that person hired, and they would be somebody with some type of degree and training in whether
Yeah, that's
it's
exciting.
exercise science, because that's the last prong is our physical health. You have mental and really the physical part of it as well, because
and it probably is all connected.
it's so connected.
It's all connected.
Which
guys-
is,
another
I
thing.
also want to get to the training center, because I don't know, that's probably a show all on its own. But there
Yeah, I
was
mean,
a
we can-
question in there about
Yeah,
the
we can
training.
buzz on. I think there was a good question from Linda about the state appropriation funding. She has some good questions in there that I think we should get to. So we can probably wrap up some of the mental health stuff. I know that's a lot. I don't want to wrap it up and be like, cut it off, but but I mean,
That's enough of
Chief
that.
Whaley will be here till noon. But there's a lot of stuff that you guys want to cover. But I think this just proves that we have to come back
Yeah.
and get it out there. So get it back on the books and do another one. But yeah, so when we get kind of back to it, we can kind of wrap up some of the physical stuff or the mental
Yeah,
health
that's
stuff.
from Linda. That's a good question.
Yeah, that's a good question.
And we need to.
I feel like that's a.
And she was so polite about it.
I know. I like it.
She was.
I like it. Well, I mean, there's good questions. It just goes like, a lot of people don't know, and it kind of leads back into number 3 too, which is the certified firefighter and EMTs. You know, I think there's another one somewhere in here when I read it over. So yeah, I think we could hit on that, and I can talk about, you know, I'm sure you can, state appropriations and how that works a little bit.
Yeah, I can cover, I can cover that.
And then I can
As a 14-month commissioner, I'm an expert on everything now. Yeah, I got it all figured. As a matter of fact, we were in Tallahassee yesterday fighting for people. So that's a good question from her.
And
I really
we
feel
are back. You are listening to the St. Johns County Morning News. It is Friday, January 23rd, and we have a panel of very distinguished guests. We were talking about support systems for mental health. So if we can kind of just continue that, and then we'll move into the memorial, I think, right?
Training.
We can do training,
The training
memorial.
center. Yeah.
So really the crux, I guess, of this program, this behavioral health plan, is that our personnel are our biggest asset, right? And we have a routine service maintenance agreement with our trucks, with our facilities, right? We need to take care of our firefighters, our biggest asset, and take care of them long into retirement. So give them the skills now, the resources, the support now, give their families the support so that they can enjoy not only working for us, but then into retirement. So I think that's just the biggest picture there. They are our biggest asset.
And that support, as you said, continues into retirement and for the family.
Yes.
Yeah, and
It's
I
a
think
great program.
also too, I had the privilege of attending yesterday. One of our firefighters actually, through this, through Elbow Tree, has put together a mental fitness group, basically. So it's a group of firefighters. We meet first and third Thursdays for a couple hours, and we go in. It's, I don't call it group therapy because I think there's always this, but I went yesterday for the first time, and it was amazing. Like, I'm recommending it to all our guys because, you know, you look left and right, everybody's doing the same thing, and everybody's having the same issues, and everybody's dealing with them differently. And it's run through Elbow Tree, so there's a counselor there that kind of guides the conversations. But
Now,
we
what
spent-
is Elbow Tree?
So Elbow Tree is our mental health counseling that we have. We have an
contract.
access on contract with the county.
Okay.
24/7 access. You call a number that's designated for us, and they call you back within seconds, if not a minute or so.
Yeah.
They vet you. There's a vetting process. You know, do you need help now? Do you need help tomorrow? Do you need help like next week? Like I went and, you know, after we had some line of duty deaths, or not line of duty deaths, but active member deaths in 2022, I was like, hey, I need some maintenance. Like I need to see somebody. I'm not, you know, next week's fine, but they called up, scheduled it, and then everything's good. And we have I don't know the exact numbers because of HIPAA, but you know, it's utilized. It's a free service to our firefighters and anybody in the department, or retirees, or, you know, just
Word's
like
getting out. Word's getting
and
out that it's helpful.
They do.
And it's more than like a hotline, not to disparage
No,
hotlines at all.
they'll
but-
come to your house.
Yeah.
We've had people show up to their house.
They'll come to the
come
stations
to the
after a bad
station.
call.
Oh, that's awesome.
They podcast, webinars, they provide books. So it's more than even just the counseling
Yeah.
part of it. There's so much more involved in it.
But that's so important that they have an outlet, and that we destigmatize therapy, mental therapy, because it's not the big deal that it was when I was a young guy. When I was a young guy, you had to rub some dirt on it and keep going. But
Yeah.
but today we've realized how much damage we've done over the years by having that kind of macho, and I don't really want to disparage that, but I just want to say that people are finally beginning to understand that coming and talking to someone and kind of getting it out, kind of throwing that crap up on the floor, if you will, of a therapist, is hugely helpful. So.
And it's really encouraging to hear all three of you say, yeah, I take advantage of this, sure.
Yeah. I
know.
absolutely do.
It's our new motto from Suck It Up Buttercup days of the 80s is it's okay to be okay.
Yeah.
Or not be okay, I'm sorry. It's okay
okay
not
to
to
not.
be okay.
Yeah.
And asking for help is not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength.
And so important
Really
that
is.
if you call someone and you need someone to come to your house right away, they will,
Yep.
if you say, look, I just need somebody here.
Yes.
Yep. And that's part of the chaplain, the peer support as well.
Wow.
You know.
How much time to the next break?
That's pretty impressive. 4 minutes.
Okay,
4 minutes.
let's get to 13. I really want to I'm gonna get to her.
Oh, to
Question.
Linda?
Yeah,
So Miss
Let me
Linda.
find Linda.
yeah, she's right on the top.
Linda, I
Or
hope
on
you're
top of
listening.
the
Well,
second
I'm all
I got it.
discombobulated here.
I got it. State appropriation funding is still taxpayer funded. The main reasons for emergency calls are for medical service and car accidents. We have a perfectly good center on Gaines Road, and there are high-level training facilities in Volusia and DeLand for everything else. I don't mean to be rude, but I want to understand why we need a state-of-the-art training center here. So let's, I'm going to talk 20 seconds on taxpayer funded. We have different buckets that we draw our money from. State appropriation funding is sales tax dollars. We send, as a county, $350 million a year to the state so that the state can do their business by running their business and then doling out appropriations for projects just like this. So even though it is taxpayer funded, it's not coming off your home property values. It's coming off of every time you go to the store and you buy something, 6 of those cents, that dollar goes to the state, and the state uses that to support us so that we don't have to put it on the backs of our local taxpayers.
Nice, thank you for the clarification.
That was
All right.
35 seconds.
Sorry.
Well,
Well, I'm a
I thought it was gonna be
politician.
way more.
I have a politician and a microphone. So.
Yeah. So I think to kind of dissect this a little bit, I'm assuming what Linda means by Gaines Road. So there's 2 things on Gaines Road. There's our headquarters building, which isn't a training facility, and then at the end of the road there's First Coast Technical College. So First Coast Technical College is just that. It's a technical college that people go to and become certified firefighters, certified EMTs, certified paramedics. So in the state of Florida, you have to go to school first before we can hire you, is how kind of our dynamic works. Now there are some departments that are, but either if we hired uncertified firefighters and EMTs, we would have to pay them to go to school at FCTC.
Okay.
See how that works? Like
Yeah.
there's a state fire college that also controls all the state certifications. So with Gaines Road, that's actually run through the school board. That's run through First Coast Technical College. So an individual would go there, pay whatever it costs now to be a certified firefighter, go through the programs. They would come out with their certificate of compliance and an EMT or paramedic, depending on which way they go. And then they would apply to us, and then we would hire them, and then put them through our 8-week recruit program, and then they would go out to the street. So I think it's important for people to know that Gaines Road and FCTC is separate from fire rescue. We, a long time ago, had a working relationship with them where actually you were in training and we had training stuff down there. Now it's kind of separated a little bit. We still use their facilities, and they, if we need a drill tower or an extrication field or a driving track to do, fire engine training on driving, we use that. So it's important for people to know that we need a training facility for our guys that we can use without having to go around a schedule of another, FCTC or the school board using the buses out at the driving track. So when we have our own area to do stuff, we can train our guys even better than we are currently. And I think that's important to have a well-trained.
And it's good to remember that we have the county has to pay for those services now.
Correct.
And when we get our own services, even though it's going to cost money to build it, it will be something that we won't have to pay for anymore. So in the long run, it saves tax dollars.
And doesn't that also kind of play into mental health? I mean, if you're willing to make an investment in your people.
Absolutely.
That's a
Training, because
big
if you're properly trained, you're more confident and competent. Competent and competent because they go together on the, not just the fire ground, on recs, on medical calls, because it's not just a fire training facility. We have EMS training. There's going to be urban search and rescue training, swimming possibly, depending on what it looks like.
We'll be back. You can keep talking.
You cut me off.
I know.
But
No,
no,
you're
I'm just I'm
You
just
see
messing
the
with you.
fingers go.
Yeah, I saw she went like this.
So-
I was like, I'm not gonna be able to wrap this up. But I mean, I think that is, it's a good question that Linda did bring up, because I don't think a lot of people understand the dynamics of everything. It's similar with the sheriff's office. Sheriff's office, you have to go get certified to be a police officer, and usually you do that through St.Johns River is the one that's local, and then the sheriff's office hires you. I mean, they have a immaculate training facility out there, and ours is going to be, almost right next door, right behind the Ag Center and the EOC. So,
It's going to be really nice.
But now it also brings us all together in an area So we can cross-train. We can also, when hurricanes
Those
happen,
natural disasters.
we're all in
Yeah,
the same
yeah.
area. We're not driving all the way from Gaines Road to come all the way over here, so, it brings everything together.
And from the money standpoint, now we can charge other departments to train their people here with us instead
good
of
point.
instead of paying someone else to train our guys.
So it's an economic engine.
It's an engine.
Yeah, and it's, obviously it's an
Okay.
upfront cost, but it's worth it to have not just our guys, but
Wow.
like Commissioner Murphy said, is other people. I mean, every year we have a fire expo that one of our local firefighters started called the Ancient City Fire Expo. It's usually held end of October, November, and we support that 100% through the department. Not 100% through the department, there's other departments, but as far as it brings in firefighters from all over the country that come here to train. And they see what we're doing, they see the culture, they see the mental health stuff, they see the town, they see this, St. Augustine, they see the area. And
Well, that's the thing
people-
about St. Johns County is that we're, and I don't want to say we, because I don't have anything to do with this other than I'm the money bags.
That's the kid now.
Yeah. But St. Johns County, not just with firefighters, not just with the EMT and paramedics, but even on the law enforcement side, we're becoming the standard for not only the state but for the country. People are coming here to see how we do things, and it's important. There's so many positives coming out of that. I mean,
And when did this start happening, that people started looking to our county kind of as the
For
Well-
training, or
well, as an example of how you're supposed to do it, well, I think we have risen to the top over the last 10 years as doing it right, as getting it right. You look at, we'll talk about the firefighter service, and I'll talk about, the fact that we just passed a year without a homicide in St. Johns County, and that's unheard of. It's unheard of, and you can't point the finger at the sheriff and say, he was the one responsible, but he is the one responsible for everything that trickles down. And same thing in our fire department. They have leadership that is putting into place proactive plans and proactive ways of doing things that, look, we're pushing the boundaries, and they're literally breaking through the glass ceiling when it comes to a small department like this leading the way in the state and in the country. And I'm really, really proud. One of the things I wanted to get out on this show is that we are so blessed in St. Johns County. Our services, especially with fire and rescue, we literally have world-class services here, better in St. Johns County than not only anywhere else, to me, in the state and in the country, but in the world. When you think about services, if you go to Europe and you're on a cruise and you get off of one of these towns and you fall and break your arm, who are you calling? I want to be here when something happens, when I want to be able to, when I call 911, I want St. Johns County coming because I know that they're professionals and that they're doing it right. So
That's a good point too, because I think, we kind of get lost in our own little, oh, well, it took them 3 minutes to get here. And,
yeah,
we
Yeah.
lose the global perspective.
that's super. If you go on a cruise and you get off on one of these islands and you go visit, you want to make sure nothing happens to you. If I'm a tourist and something happens to me, I want it to be here in St. Johns County.
Yeah.
So
And our employees are being asked to speak at conferences throughout the state, throughout the nation.
Yep.
So we're being asked, whether it's the way we're doing our fire tactics, the way we're doing our EMS, providing our EMS. We are giving blood now. We're doing amazing things.
yeah, I think this is a statistic we're getting ready to do some stuff on, so I'll just drop it now. So less than 10% in cardiac arrest. So if you go into cardiac arrest, you have a heart attack, you go into cardiac arrest, the national average for coming out of the hospital with no deficiencies is less than 10%. It's about 8%. The average for the county that we do and how we do our EMS training and how we do our EMS protocols, we're above 20%. So
Which is
I think that's
almost 3 times the
Yeah.
national average.
so that's important to for everybody to know that that's why training matters, and that's why because we're saving lives.
And we are back.
Well, you can say that again for the people in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you please repeat what you were
Yeah,
talking
so
about?
kind of on break, we were talking about EMS and cardiac arrest saves. So nationally, a national average is less than 10%, usually about 7-8% of coming back from cardiac arrest and leaving the hospital without any deficiencies. In the county now, currently, they ran all the statistics from last year. You're over 20% that were walking out of the hospital with no deficiencies, and that's due to our, I want to say our EMS tactics, because I'm very fire-based, but our EMS tactics, how we're running a cardiac arrest scenario, has to do with our medical director. It has to do with our medical. We have critical care paramedics that respond on these calls.
Speed of service.
Speed of service. That's a huge number that's going to be probably nationwide, and people are going to be looking at what we're doing here.
And Chief Whaley, you were saying that your people are now being asked to go speak in other counties and in other fire departments?
So Commissioner Murphy was kind of praising the county overall and saying that we are the best at a lot of things. And just to speak on fire rescue, our employees, and it's not the chiefs, it's the firefighters out there doing their jobs that are passionate about what they're doing. They learn their craft. They perfect their craft. They are being invited to conferences all over the state and nationwide to go speak, whether it's about EMS, which just happened recently as our medical director and the EMS staff went to talk about what we're doing in St. Johns County. I think in Indy, there's some people going up to...
Yeah, we have some people that teach in FDICs are big, like the fire department's big, it's called the Fire Department Instructor Conference, so it's the biggest conference you can have in the country. I've actually went up and taught there some of the live fire programs, as well as some of our captains, and then we've recently had Captain Tim Young taught at Andy Frederick's training days in Alexandria, Virginia. So that's a 3-day lecture series class, and Andy Frederick passed away in 9/11, but he was world renowned in the fire service in training. So that was a good thing for him, for sure.
People are finally beginning to realize that that this group of professionals has put us in a position to be the top tier when it comes to new programs and how to fight fires, how to drive trucks, how to perform CPR, how to administer drugs. We are leading we will, if not, we will lead the nation in that, and people are going to look to St. Johns County. So having a place to bring people to, it's going to be important. I look at it from a numbers standpoint. We make this investment through grants through the state, and then we reap the benefits for the foreseeable future, not only in training but in dollars.
Mm-hmm.
So when things like this new training center come up, you go to him for the money?
So not always. So
we're sometimes just the pass through.
Okay. You're the conduit.
So like obviously we have state funding, county budget. You got to work through the process of county budget for that stuff as well. Grants. There's a lot of training grants out there.
Grants is huge because it takes the burden off our local taxpayers.
I love Grant. I don't know who he is, but he's
a good guy.
Everybody, I like Grant.
So we have about 6 minutes left. So how do you what do you think is priority for you?
Talk about that memorial.
We can talk about the Fallen Firefighters Memorial. So 2 weeks ago, we finally did the dedication ceremony for our Fallen Firefighter Memorial. Long overdue. I kind of took the tip of the spear and kind of head that one up pretty good. I think we had a good committee with us, a lot of people behind the scenes kind of working.
How did that come about? I get a little teary just thinking about the dedication.
Hard work and dedication.
There you go.
Right there. So you gotta get somebody. You have to have somebody driving a fire truck, and he was driving it.
So back in 2022, we had a pretty rough year. Specifically, April through October, we lost 3 guys, active duty guys, 2 to mental health and suicide, and 1 to a heart attack. One of our, my buddy, who I got hired with, actually, Lieutenant Justin Estes, whose brother passed away. I think we have a connection right there with some people, but he wrote a letter to the department kind of, bonding us all together on the 1-year anniversary a year later. And I said, you know what, I'm going to go out. I'm the Honor Guard commander. I'm going to go out to everybody and just visit them. Just remember them, and It was a trek. I left Jack's Beach, and I went to Ponte Vedra, and I came down here to St. Augustine, and I went to Palm Coast, and then I went all the way up to the National Cemetery. So it took the day. But then I kind of realized it's like, all right, we need something for us, a place that people can go and have comfort and remember and cherish and even laugh about the funny things that happen. We were laughing about Captain Cruelish yesterday. We kind of talked to the new hires about him. You know, we were talking about how his cones were people and don't run over the cones when you're doing EVOC training. But if, you know, we're going to leave this place at some point, and their memories have to stay. So I think that's really was the driving factor into building that memorial and remembering, you know, a lot of them I was pretty intimate with, you know, very intimate with a lot of them. You know, just, I don't know how to build a memorial, but I'm going to figure it out. You know, I kind of quoted Travis Mannion, who was a first lieutenant in the Marine Corps who passed away overseas in Afghanistan. They have the Travis Mannion Foundation, and you know his motto, his ethos was, "If not me, then who?" And I kind of quote that, and I use that, and I encourage anybody, not just fire department, but everybody. It's like, if I don't do it, who's going to do it? And oftentimes, unfortunately, not everybody's going to step up to do something. So if you're passionate about something and you want to do it, do it.
I can tell you that as someone who was honored to be there, I wasn't crying.
No, I was crying.
You were crying.
I was crying.
I was
I think I
there.
cried like 4 times.
I cried like a baby. It was awful.
I love that they handed out little packets of Kleenex.
Yeah, that was actually,
was
was that Amy's idea? I think it was our financial. She's like, "You want me to get some?"
Yes,
Kleenex?"
God,
I was like,
that was a great idea.
I was like, yes.
I wish I had some because I
Yeah.
think everything was running. It was awful.
But I think it's nice to have, and it's just my opinion, a place for your mind to go. Like a concrete place where when you think about your loved ones, your mind can go to a place that you know is healing, peaceful, respectful, and honorable.
Yeah.
You know, so you have like a place.
Yeah, and we've been, you know, we have a recruit class going on right now. We have 32 new employees that are getting trained currently, and you know, we go out there and we do workouts with them out there. And you know, when they think the workout's hard, we tell them to look over. Like nothing's going to be as hard as that. So you know, physical fitness we talk about. You know, it's not just
that's cruel.
Yeah, I know. So we make them do a couple more extra push-ups, but it's also not just our fallen firefighter. We have a 9/11 memorial there as well that was kind of incorporated. That was kind of my plan to do a little bit of both. We were graciously donated a tree, a survivor tree from actually the city of St. Augustine Fire Department. Was lucky enough to get a couple, so we ended up getting one from them, and you know that tree is definitely something special and something to remember what happened on that day.
And can anyone go out to the memorial?
Yep, absolutely. It's at 3657 Gaines Road at our fire rescue headquarters right when you pull in the parking lot. We do have gates that close at nighttime and typically on the weekends. So usually during normal business hours, just for security issues because we have fire trucks that are parked there. And but they're more than welcome to visit, stop by. If you need, you know, facilities or anything, they're all located inside. And you know, or if you want to talk to somebody about it, usually somebody's around.
Oh, cool. And do you have still plans for it, or is it complete?
Yes, it's not. Well, it's complete for right now.
We hope it's complete.
Yeah, yeah. It's.
Oh,
it's,
well,
yeah,
yeah.
Yes, the wall, as far as the names,
We don't want to add any.
Yeah.
anywhere.
So
But as far as you know, expansion plans to make it better. Not better. I think that's the wrong. But like add to it. There are some plans in my head. I also have another plan in my head that's going to be taking precedence for the next year.
I'm going to say goodbye to our radio peeps, but
Okay.
keep that thought. So you have other plans?
Yep. I got some other plans in my head. I can't talk about it right now. It's top secret.
Top secret.
Top secret stuff.
Well, nobody can hear
Well,
you.
look.
Facebook Live can hear me.
Look, you guys can stay as long as you want. I have to apologize. I got to be somewhere in 15
Yep.
minutes.
Y'all get
Sorry,
back.
What a
Take care.
pleasure, Chris.
Yeah.
Take care of
Thank you.
yourself.
Chief
We'll do this
Whaley.
again.